So everybody, this is Cool Game 24 here, and this week I'm going to bring to you my Breaking Bad Season 5 Episode 7 review titled Say My Name. So let's see, this episode starts off, the first scene starts off with Mike, Jesse, and Walt in a car driving to the meetup with the Arizona Connect. So once we see this goes to I think, like, I don't know how long the scene will be, but you know, this shows the whole title, Say My Name, because he says it in one of the dialogue with the guy. So they get there to the Connect and they're just talking to each other, and Walt does the deal, the whole thing by himself. So he basically talking to this guy, and the guy don't have no idea who he is. And he's like, you know, Walt telling him, you know, I got the methylene. We're not giving you anything until we making a deal. And he's like, well, who are you? I'm making a deal with Mike and Jesse. Who are you? He said, well, you know, the conversation goes, I don't, they're just not exact words, but this is in my words. He's like, you know, they got it. He didn't tell them what happened before, but he's like, yeah, they don't know where the methylene at, and I'm just trying to hear, you know, he's here to make the deal. The deal that Walt proposed to the Arizona guy, I think, was like 35% for the money, and the guy's like, you know, you know, he's not trying to hear that. He don't even know who Walt is, and Walt is really manipulating this guy. Excuse me, yeah, manipulating this guy to the point where he's like, the guy's getting, you know, a little bit more aggressive. And he's telling him, you know, I don't know who you are. I don't really care who you are. I just was here for the deal. And Walt is pressing on and keep pressing and telling him, you know, my product is the best product out there, and you know, you can't get anything else. Your product is lower than mine, and if you work with me, you might as well just say that you can make 10 times more money with me than you do by yourself. And you know, I'm not going to tell you the whole dialogue, but you know, after that the conversation goes from, you know, them making a deal to, you know, him to Walt to Walt basically, you know, throwing his little weight around and throwing, you know, he dropped the name, and he's like, yeah, I'm the man who killed Gus. And Arizona Connect didn't believe him, you know. And he's like, okay, if you don't believe me. And one of the men that he had, you know, the Arizona Connect, well, the Arizona boss, I don't know who he is, but I'm gonna call him the Arizona Connect. You know, one of his men looked at Mike, and Mike basically blinked his eye and confirmed it, like, yeah, he's the one that killed him. So Walt proceeds to tell him, you know, tell the Arizona Connect guy that, you know, say my name. And he's like, but I don't know who you are. So yeah, you know who I am. And basically he was like, you're Heisenberg. And that was crazy right there. He made the guy so much that he made the guy say his name, you know, his criminal alien's name. And also in that conversation that I didn't say anything, you know, he gave a compliment to Jesse, and you know, he said he had the 2 best cooks. He added Jesse, and you know, Jesse learning from Walt how to do the meth and how to cook it right, you know, basically meaning that Jesse is on par with him when it comes in terms of how to make the meth. So after this scene, you see them you know, they pick up the money. Jesse, Mike, and Walt picks up the money, you know, and Walt tells Jesse, you know, we're gonna get everything done. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. And he doesn't know. Walt really doesn't know that Jesse wants out. You know, it's been, you know, told by, you know, Walt that, you know, Mike is gone, but I think what's his name is in denial. You know, Walt's in denial, and Jesse wanted to leave the game. And I think, you know, later on, in a couple more scenes, and later on scenes, you know, they're gonna come to a head. Both Jesse and Mike gonna come. I mean, Jesse and Walt gonna come to a head with him wanting to leave. But after this, you know, you see, you know, Jesse talking to Mike after they go to the garage, and he tells him, you know, you really going? And he said, yeah, I'm going. You know, Mike tells Jesse, yeah, I'm going. And he's like, yeah, why don't you be careful, kid? He's like, well, let me come with you. You know, at least, you know, I think he said, let me come with you. I can't remember everything, but he says, you know, just take care of yourself, because I think Mike, you know, thinks Jesse's gonna go back to Walt. But at the same time, you see Walt, you know, at the side of the thing, looking at them shaking hands, like, whoa. You know, Walt thinking another way, like, whoa, what is this? You know, why is they shaking hands? So after this scene, we see a kind of reflection on how Walt treats Skyler now, which I like this scene. But actually, and at the same time, I actually felt sorry for her a little bit too. They going in, and he hid the, was ingenious. Walt hid the methylene, the stolen methylene, in the car wash, and his wife sees it, and she said, what is this? Anybody want to get this? Tell me what's going on. And he says, go back to work. And she's like, why don't you tell me anything? He says, well, it's none of your business. Go back to work. Go back to your office. And Jesse sees this, like, wow. You know, he's talking to his wife like this. Like, you know, Jesse sees the change in Walt throughout the whole first scene, and, you know, the second scene, when you see them talking. You know, Jesse is growing a lot weaker, like I said before in other interviews. He's not made for this. You know, the kid getting killed affected him a lot, but at the same time, you know, I think he wasn't, you know, he's getting softer and softer. And I said this on another forum, you know, on a Facebook group, that Jesse is kind of acting like someone from Boardwalk Empire. I forgot what her name is, Maggie, from, I think, Nookie's mistress or wife. She act holier than thou, but even though she's in a dark world, she's in the, you know, I think she's in a dark world, and she knows that Nookie is a criminal, but she still be with him because she thinks it's gonna, you know, atone for something. You know, I can't get into that because it's going to be a lot longer than this. But, you know, Jesse's acting like that, but instead he matured to being like this with morals, and him with a conscience, you know. So after that, I think, let's see, there's a scene with the lawyer that was with Mike in the previous episodes. Him going into like a vault, you know, him offering, and him being charismatic, you know, the lawyer being all, you know, chatty with the receptionist or whatever she is, giving her food so he can allow him to do his job. And I think this is how the money is given to the family. So this is how I think this is how it's given to the family, and it shows after he have a conversation with Mike, telling him, you know, you're out. He's like, yeah, I'm out. I'm really going. I just want to know if the families of the 9 guys are still going to be taken care of. And, you know, he says, yeah. And then the lawyer says, you know, bid him goodbye. So then we see to another scene where this scene was really good, where you see Mike listening to the bug on, you know, the progress on the tails and everything, that, you know, the progress on everything they have on Mike. So he listened to him, and he's like, you know, you hear Hank on the phone with Charity. You know, he don't. It's kind of a drag. You hear him, seeing him. You know, you like, oh man, it's kind of bothering him. He don't want to do this. He don't want to be. I think Hank wants to. He always wanted to be the boss, but you know, it's kind of like a kind of irritation, you know, to do some of the small stuff, because he just want to catch criminals, but he had to do the good stuff for the people too. That's what the scene was about. But and then this scene was a key scene of showing how Mike was actually, you know, giving up. You know, not giving up, but wanted to really leave. You know, this Mike. If anybody thought this 60-year-old guy was not dangerous, you should see what he, you know, poured down as well. He poured out a shotgun, AK-47, a whole bunch of handguns, a whole bunch of clips. This guy is, you know, Mike is dangerous. This guy is not an average old man. But after that, he parks his car in a garage, or I think an airport security or whatever garage, and then, you know, I think this is some kind of like technique, because he, you know, Mike is street smart and he's cop savvy, so he got two things on the side. So, you know, he takes the cab back, and then you see a scene with him drinking coffee, you know, him just sitting there waiting for the FBI the FBI raid, because I think that's what they was talking about. You know, I forgot, I messed up a little bit, but you know, they raided his house, and ironically, he was sitting there watching a mob movie and just sitting there being calm. And as they raid the house, Hank is just sitting there looking at Mike like, wow, this guy's not even scared. This guy's just too calm. He's real calm. So here we go to one of the best scenes in, I think, this episode's and its reflection on the relationship between Walt and Jesse now than it was before. So Jesse comes in and, you know, wants to talk with Walt. And he, you know, him and Walt tells him, you know, Walt is sitting there proceeding to tell him like, yeah, we're gonna fix this lab up. We're gonna make this lab 10 times better than everything else. We're gonna make it run fast and all this other stuff. And then, you know, Jesse tells him, you know, can I talk to you? And he's like, yeah, Walt, you can talk to me. And you know, Jesse looks at him like, dude, I told you that I was wanted to leave. I don't want to be in the meth business anymore. And Walt tells him like, whoa, wait. I want to be the best at this, and you're giving up a shot to be the best at cooking meth, to leave and do what? You know, to be what? To do anything. Like, you're young, but you really have nothing. You know, he left Andrea. Jesse left Andrea, so his potential of getting a family is kind of out of the door. And excuse me, he looks at, you know, Walt is trying to persuade him into like staying in the business, and Jesse's, you know, still telling him like, I really don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. You know, and then, you know, one of the things is, you know, key things that happen in between the dialogue between Jesse and Mike right here is like, you know, they tell, you know, Jesse looks at him like the whole time, and he stares at him with like a serious face, you know, like, I don't even know who this guy is. I thought, you know, I think he like, I thought Mr. White, I thought you had some type of, you know, morals now. But, you know, Walt is telling him like, yo, you know how many people we had to kill for this? You know how many people we had to destroy? Like, you killed Gail, we killed many others just for us to be at this point. We're the bosses now. Nobody else is gonna get hurt. We're in control. And he's like, and Jesse like, whoa. Why you keep saying that? A kid died. We're not in control. And he was like, yeah, ooh, this is our empire. That was a tragedy. I'm the one that have kids. I have kids, so I should be the one feeling it, and it does hurt me. But you expect me to have so much. You suspect me to not be focused. At the same time, it happened, but we need to get over it. And Jesse looks like he's getting fed up with Walt, so he wants his money, his half of the money, and Walt is not biting to the fact, like, he's like, wait, but you're pure now, you're Jesse's, you heaven Jesse, you're like, you're nice Jesse. That money is dirty. That money kills people, so you don't want that. And I thought Jesse was gonna punch him, but instead he didn't punch him. He said, "Oh, fuck it, I'm not gonna." He's like, "Fuck it, I don't want that money, but this is all on you. Like, this is all on you." Now that scene showed that Jesse and Walt's relationship has turned sour fast, because Jesse didn't want to do what Walt wanted him to do. But at the same time, Jesse is he's growing into a better individual. At the same, he's growing into a better individual, and he's not allowing Walt to manipulate him no more. And he's looking around, like, he's looking at Walt while the conversation was going, like, wow, this. I think he was thinking to himself, like, wow, this guy's really changed. Like, this is a real dark thing. And not only that, after the conversation, you can see a kind of like souration in Walt's mind, because Walt is telling him, after Jesse left, you're like, if you walk out, you're not gonna get anything. You scream like, Jesse, Jesse. Usually the whole, usually when he do scream Jesse, like, Jesse, but Jesse was done. So after that, we see a scene between the reflection on what Hank has to deal with as being the head of this department now, DA department. His excessive behavior again. He's assessing over Mike and trying to connect the dots between Gus and Mike, and it's wasting resources that they don't want. It making him look bad at the boss. And I think his higher ups was talking to him, telling him, I'll stick my neck out for you, to put you because you're a good cop, but you making a lot of mistakes while you're here, and I don't want to see that happen, because you making me look bad and you making yourself look bad, so clean everything up. So after the conversation, he looked at all disappointed, like, his boss told him, like, stop following Mike, bro. Just stop following Mike. Do something else. You have more cases. You run a whole department. Just stop doing it. It's done. So after that, Mike comes in. I mean, not Mike. My fault. Gomez comes in and talks to him about the situation. So Mike is, Hank is telling Gomez, we can't follow Mike anymore, but we can follow somebody else. So they led to the lawyer, which kind of, from now on, this scene shows kind of like, from now on, the downfall and the changes that's going to happen in the next, I think, part 2 of Breaking Bad, I think next summer 2013. And I'm just thinking about the next scene. Yeah, okay, the next scene was, as I said before in previous episodes, I knew this was gonna happen. Todd is the new replacement for Jesse. Now, Todd, as I didn't say, he's not a great chemist. He hasn't been around Walt as long as Jesse. He hasn't learned anything new, but I think he takes, he he pays attention well, and he does what he's supposed to do. He is, I think it shows in this episode, in this one episode, him working with Walt. He has some type of like obedience to him, and one thing that you show that he has obedience is when Walt asks him, you know, we'll talk about your fee. We'll talk about your fee when we sell this batch. And Todd sells him like, no, until I get this right, then we'll talk money. And you know, I think that impressed Walt. Like, wow, you know, this kid is better than Jesse in the beginning years, you know. But he's not as smart as Jesse, because Jesse, you know, as I said, his Walt's genius and everything that Walt taught Jesse in the beginning of the series, you know, it made him 10 times smarter. It made him a lot, you know, mature and a lot smarter compared to what Todd is now. Todd is new, inexperienced, and it's going to take some time to teach him how things go. Now, after that, it's let's see. Let me think. Yes, back to the lawyer. So he's gonna put money in the deposit box again for the 9 people, and he has a surprise. Gomez and 2 other dudes, I think. And Gomez is just smiling like, we got you, boy. We got you. And he's looking like, wow, what happened? And now it's another scene that comes up with how the house is. You know, Skylar is kept like a hostage in the house now without the kids. Without the kids in the house, it's like kind of a dark. She don't even cook anymore. You can tell by him microwaving food. She don't cook anymore. So, you know, he tried to proceed to talk to her after he told her that he put her in her place and she didn't want to talk to him. So, you know, that's a good key. That wasn't really fun scene. So the new scene was where he comes in and uses his manipulating skills again to manipulate the situation where he can plant a bug, or he can, you know, he can take the bug out because, you know, Mike told him to in earlier scenes. And, you know, Hank is feeling uncomfortable as Walt predicted, and he left the room to get him coffee. So he proceeds to, you know, put bugs in, or take the bugs out. And while he's taking the bugs out, you know, he overhears a conversation between Gomez and Hank, and he tells him he got this lawyer, and now we got that bastard. We're gonna get Mike soon. So it goes to, I think, a scene where Mike is sitting down playing with his daughter. You know, he's trying to have a normal time. He's trying to make his last, you know, time in this city enjoyable before he leaves. So, you know, he gets a call from the lawyer, and the lawyer tells him, you know, I want to meet you. Something went wrong. And he tells him, well, calm down. What's happening? So he gets another phone call from Walt, and Walt tells him, yo, they called the lawyer. They're trying to set you up. They're coming right now. So Mike, you know, he looks at his granddaughter like, wait. And he tried to call to her, but he couldn't, because it was 2 patrol cars. One stepped up behind his car, and the other one stepped up in front of his car, and they just stood at his car. And he had nowhere to go. He had to leave his granddaughter, which was a really fucked up situation, in my opinion. So we get to a scene where, you know, I think it's in a, you know, we're kind of in a war room with Jesse and Mike. I mean, Jesse and Walt, and they're trying to tell a plan, like, how are we going to get Mike out of this situation. You know, and Saul telling him, like, yo, he should have used me instead. So you see Saul, he has like at least like 20 cell phones. I don't know, 20. like at least like 10, and he proceeds to tell all three of them, Saul, Mike, and Walt, that he got to get out of here. He got to get out fast, and he wants somebody to get the money for him. So Jesse proceeds to keep telling him, you know, I want to give the money to you. I want to get it. I want to get it to you. And you know, Mike is telling him, no, I don't want you to. I don't want you to get you in trouble, because you know Mike, literally, you know, he cares about him. You know, like I said, he got a connection with Mike. Saul's like, yo, I can't do it because I think they're right in front of my joint, right in front of my office. So Walt asks to do it. Walt does it, and then this scene is the key scene. As I said before, I'm not gonna say I told you so, but I knew somebody was gonna die, and I was right. I said Mike, Skyler, or Jesse was gonna die. Either of those three, before 8 or during the 8th season. So, I mean the 8th episode. So he pulls up and tells you know, him and Walt has a, you know, a conversation, and Walt tells him like, yo, give me them names, you know, you're gonna leave, and I really don't want to deal with these guys because I know they're gonna roll on me. I know they're gonna roll on you, and it's gonna lead back to me. And he's like, well, no, I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm not gonna do that for you because they're my people, and they're not my problem anymore. You know, he didn't exactly say that, but that's how, you know, I looked at it. And he says, well, you at least can say thank you for, you know, bringing your money and stuff. And Michael said, thank you for what? Thank you for killing Gus. You know, we had a good thing going on. If you would have never been Mr. Big Shot and stayed in your own parameters as a cook, and instead of trying to be a gangster, we could have actually been living. We could have been living good, and we all could have made money. And I could have never been on a run, and you could have been at least had your family together, and Jesse would have never been in this situation. And you know, that made Walt even angrier. Like, yo, you're like, yo, just give me that. You owe me those names. I need to get rid of these. You know, I want them names. And he's like, you know, Mike is still protecting these names. And what happened to him next is like, well, it's his whole fault. And I think he underestimated Walt, which I think he did. So Walt comes back on him. Walt comes back, you know, out of real pure anger. It's like, oh, this motherfucker think I'm playing around with this guy. I want them fucking names. So he proceeded to go to the car. He got the gun from the bag that was missing. You know, Mike sees it like, whoa, where's the gun? Walt comes up to him, steps up to the car window, and shoots him in his gut. You know, and Walt proceeds to, you know, I think to finish it off, but instead, you know, he got, you know, he walks down and he escapes. And you know, Mike is just sitting there, and Mike, in my opinion, you know, he was smart, but his body couldn't maintain the kind of high level it would if he was a young guy. And as I see in this scene, right now, you know, I mean, in my head, it's my fault. When I was looking at it, Mike, when you strip away his hitman status and everything else, he's just an old man. And that shot in the gut was kind of, I think, the same shot that he got when he was in Mexico. So his body is old and he can't take that much damage anymore. So that second shot was kind of the okay, you're done moment. His body couldn't take it anymore. So he stood there, and Walt realized that you know, he didn't need to kill Mike. He could have got it from Lydia. And Mike tells him, you know, can you shut the fuck up and let me die peacefully? As he drops, you know, at the same time he feels remorse, you know, a little bit of remorse, like, wow, I didn't want to kill you, but just let it happen. Now, as we see, as I said before, we'll make a little prediction, because I think time running out. Todd, as I said before, is going to be his new Trigger Man. And I think Jesse either going to be against Walt or going to be a victims of Walt. And I think it's going to be another alliance. The preview I saw, I think it's going to be a new alliance between Walt and Lydia, because she kind of smart, and I think she kind of actually at the same level as him. And I think I kind of got it wrong when I said Lydia might get killed. You know, I think they might work out. I don't know. It's kind of weird relationship as I see in that preview. But at the same time, as I said, Todd's gonna be useful to him. The connects might come through, because I know Walt is gonna take care of everybody. He's gonna take care of all the people, the non-people, because they're gonna flip. They're gonna really flip. But that's all I can do, because this thing is going